Hello and welcome to another OatCube development video for the generation ship. This time I will be showing a bit of the world event system that I've been making, and while this will not be a tutorial exactly, but I will give some kind of insight and tips if you want to build something like this on your own game. So first of all, what I've been doing recently, I fixed some of the lighting in the game. As you can see, I added normal maps here and there and did the walls ready. I also have quite many sprites ready for all the buildings, and I've started normal mapping them also. And as you can see, I've added some kind of a light following the cursor to give a bit of depth into the game. I also added a tutorial system to the bottom right corner. As you can see, it triggers tutorials whenever you do stuff that it's somehow connected to the tutorial tip. And you can also check them here and go back and forth if you want. But for the event system, a small pop-up will appear to the left corner here in the log area. If I press here and check what it tells, it opens my event window basically. It depicts the event that is happening. Sometimes it's something bad that you can't really do anything about, you just have to make do. Sometimes it's an event that lets you choose between three options. Usually one of them is bad for the passengers, one is good for the passengers, and one is more like an ignore the event altogether. All these choices will matter what you do, so even if you ignore it, it might basically snowball into something else later in the game. And also, as you can see, I added a hope meter down to the middle of the bottom panel here. It's still not fully implemented. I actually started it like 2 months ago, but only thing I did was the basic class for it. But now it's working somewhat, and the events are taking it into account. Basically, the lower the hope is, like closer to despair basically, on the left side. So the more red the bar is, the more bad things will happen, the more happiness the passenger will lose, and the more green it is, like the more hopeful the passengers are, the better things are basically going. So the events will basically throw that value around. So when you choose something, for example, now I chose the shifts to be shortened, some kind of an timer will appear to the bottom right area to show it. And also, depending on what kind of the event was, it can be like a quest if you need to build more houses or build like an asteroid mining machine or whatever. It will read on the bottom right area. So basically like the event system from Frostpunk to some extent. But so far this has been built to be like a random system. So I have this world event manager that basically handles every variable that I have to change. It handles the random event, it handles the triggers, and it also caches all the events that I have. And as you can see here, I have an array of event game objects, which is basically I have a prefabs for every world event that I have, and the prefab has the specific world event script for whatever the event is. And when an event triggers, the world event manager will instantiate a prefab of the current world event, and then the start and update methods and whatever the world event might have will start running. I also have all the values that I have to use inside. For example, a world event where I have to build more buildings. It has to count, of course, how much buildings I have, how much buildings I still need. So all the event data that I'm using is inside the world event manager, and this is because at first it would have been pretty easy to just put them inside the world event itself that is running, but that will be a bit harder for the save system to handle. So I ended up putting all the event data, data points, data variables in the event manager. So when I'm loading a game state, I can just basically throw all the data from the save file to the world event manager, and when it spawns the event that is supposed to be running, it will apply all the data from the event manager. So this is basically because of the save system. So far I've made about 9 different events. Some are quite basically it just applies some new modifiers to the building materials, or changes the eating food values and work shift length, stuff like that. But then I have some more like rough stuff. You can choose to throw corpses out of the airlock if you don't want them stinking inside your ship, but you can also use them as materials or hold burials for them on. If you need more workforce in the ship, you can throw the elders out on, or you can build more buildings. And of course, if you have like over half of your ship is elders, and they are not doing any work, and then you have like 20% children, you will have to basically put all your workforce into the food and clothing if you want them to stay alive. So there are pretty harsh choices you have to make, so it's not going to be easy. Thank you for watching, and throw down a comment if you want to ask some more, but this was more of like an insight on what I've been doing so far. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.